Alrighty, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Moving Chicane podcast. I am your host, Corey Mott, and joining
And
me
I,
today are Zach Johnson and Jared Bundy.
hello.
What's up, y'all?
So, for those of you who don't know what this podcast is going to be about, mainly going to be focusing around obviously NASCAR, but also the show community and its leagues that are run on a weekly basis. And then we'll obviously touch on current events in NASCAR and you know we'll probably ramble about other stuff at some point. So, um, it is what it is. We're just here to have a good time. So let's kick it off. I'll kick it off to you, Zach. Let's go through the last week here at the show.
So over the last week, including tonight, we had a couple of different events going on. We had trucks at Kentucky on last Tuesday. That was more an eventful race, I would say. And then Wednesday, we went to Charlotte for a playoff race in the Xfinity, which was a cutoff race of the round of 12, I believe. And then Sunday at Cup, we were at another playoff race at Atlanta. And then tonight at Trucks, we were at Sonoma.
Yeah, I had quite an eventful week. To be quite
Oh,
honest
and
with you.
I forgot Thursday we had the randomizer series, which
Of
was
course, cannot forget about the randomizer series, the best league that we host in this league now. So
yeah, so far
it's
by
definitely
far
But yeah, I had what you could call an eventful week.
ups and
Got
downs.
Yeah, all over the place to be quite honest with you. I got wrecked Wednesday. Had some netcode incidents. It happens. Is what it is. Me and Caleb talked out our differences. Then Sunday came out with a win.
First one of
First
your
win.
I envy you for that, by the way.
That was a long freaking race, dude. I
that was
was
100. Was it 165 laps we did? Because of the green
Seems
63.
light
like there was
checkered.
just so
I
much
thought,
stuff going on at once, you know?
I
oh
think
yeah,
it was 65, 165 with the overtimes, but I was in like the top 10 for I want to say 85% of that race. Like I
I
was up
yeah
there the
I
whole time.
lap one I was on the top behind, or Wold was behind me, and I forgot how tight Atlanta is,
Oh, it's
especially
so
on the
bad, especially
top.
especially when you have no tires, dude. Oh my God.
Well, this is lap one, and I thought I was at Daytona or Talladega, and I just kind of turned. I have it like cemented in my brain how to turn at Talladega and Daytona, and I turned it that, and it wasn't enough, and I hit the wall, and I was in the back for the first stage, and almost got stage points in stage two.
Well, let's put it this way. I was running at the front of the pack for a majority of the race, but I led one lap, and that would be the final one. And I got no stage points because every time stage points came, I backed way off because I was not about to fight with the playoff
Yeah,
drivers for stage
I
points. So,
I forget which wreck it was. I think it was in stage two. I felt like they were gonna wreck off of a restart, and I was on the bottom, so I backed out, and sure enough, they wrecked in the dry oval.
yeah, it was just, dude, it
I
was a
think
lot.
no, I think that was the no, that wasn't the Xander wreck. Oh yeah, it was. It was in stage one when Xander got wrecked.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, they got together.
He went to the back right away to try and avoid everything, and he ends
And
up
he got
in one
wrecked.
of the first
Yeah.
incidents.
He still got wrecked, yeah.
Dude,
I love it.
Everyone was behind me for about 40 laps that race, and holy cow, can he push?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know
He
a thing or two
wanted
about that.
yeah, he wanted to get up front, and I was kind of more just riding, just hanging out, trying to survive.
Yeah,
Well,
my
that's the thing
race
is
was
he backs way off and then he decides that he wants to then race. That's
yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah, I found out firsthand how hard he likes to hit you.
yeah. So let's go over the playoff situation real quick. We got 8 guys in the playoffs here for the Sunday night league here. So Evans leading the boards. He's 2 points ahead of Xander. Dominguez and Vasquez are currently in for the final four with 2 races left in this round. Kenny, Zach, Jared, and Jeremy, T-Bon, are looking in.
Zach
Jared,
Bucher, not
you're
me.
Jared, you're out by a good deal, man. What's your plan these next couple weeks? You're 20 some odd points out of there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so conflicting because with a track like Bristol and these cars, it's so hard to pass. So you want to try as hard as you can to be up front, like from the get go, from qualifying. But either if you mess up qualifying or you just, you end up mid pack, then you're susceptible to getting into incidents and wrecking your car, and then there goes your whole playoff chances. So it's for me, I think I got to nail qualifying. That's the big thing,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think the
just
track position is
maintain
going to be huge. Track position, track position. I mean, that
Yeah,
huge.
it,
Because
especially next week we're at Bristol, or I should say this week. Um, that's going to be another chaotic race. I don't know if that's going to play out like Martinsville did last season, or if it's going to be more of a
well, Bristol last season. Let me take it back to the archives here. I think Bristol last season was actually one of our better races, believe it or not. Um,
Darlington was really good though last
Darlington
season
was
as well.
also great, and it was a shit show this season.
Because last season, season 0 Darlington, not to brag, second start, got a win. I don't care if Evan decided to lose talent on the last turn, but I still won.
So last season, granted, we had 10 drivers in the field. All right.
No, that was a
No,
13
this is
field.
Bristol, Bristol, Bristol. I'm talking
Oh,
Bristol. So we had 6 cautions for 30 laps, and that was a 170 lap race. Guess who came out on top?
Evan,
Nope. Evan had a skill issue,
Blake.
and Xander won his first race in the show. But that was back when he didn't have a force
Oh.
feedback wheel.
You said 170 laps and
ooh,
30 of them
that's
was
rough.
caution.
Yeah, we had 170 laps, 30 were caution. We had one stage in that mix as well. Um,
Okay.
and in the sneaky pick for this week, Jim Mott, he finished third. He finished
That's
third.
not it's
Papa
not
Mott.
ridiculous.
Papa Mott finished P3. And 2 weeks ago, he ran a Bristol Xfinity race in another league he runs outside of this league, and he
Oh,
finished 10th out of 27.
not bad.
So if I'm a betting
Solid
man,
run
I'm
for the boy.
putting Jim Mott top 10. I'm putting that down on the table. I could see a big
I'll
breakout race if he can
I'll say
keep it
top
clean.
12 just because I think all these drivers are a little more conscious now that we don't have the fast pair. We're at a short track for the first time this season, I would say.
Second time. I would
Second.
consider Gateway. Well, third time. We had Iowa too.
Oh, I completely
Iowa,
forgot. I
Iowa
wasn't at
Gateway, I
Iowa.
would say. So this was our third.
But I mean, this playoff race, there's going to be a lot of take and not a lot of give. But I think people are going to try to just conserve and save their stuff. I'll say a Jim Mott top 12.
All right, top
Just
12 is
because
fair.
I think a couple people aren't gonna wreck out. Like myself, I plan on just hanging around the back most of the race, trying to survive the chaos that's gonna ensue. But yeah, I'll say a Bob Baker, top 15 as well.
I will say Bob Baker's looking down this week. He did not have a good race at Bristol last season. Granted, he's gotten a lot better,
I
but
will say I think there's gonna be a lot of people off the pace enough to where he will be competitive to a point, but not getting lapped every lap like Martinsville was.
yeah. Well, we'll see how that plays out. The big Buck Fiden 250 goes live Sunday at 7:45. 8 o'clock is when the stream starts. Racing starts at 8:30. You can catch it live on Eric's Wacky Racing. Um, and it'll be a big one, honestly. Let's
Who
let's
sponsored that race?
that's Jeremy T Bond's race. He's coming out. He's coming out hard. That's the big Buck Fiden 250.
Yeah,
So
I sponsored a for next season our Daytona race. I sponsored it. It's a Do It for Dale 200. I
it
figured it
is
was only
actually
right.
250. I double checked the
It is
schedule and you were right.
250. I
Yeah,
did the math.
you
I
were
did
right.
the math
You were
because it
right.
was 200 miles.
I thought it was 80 or 75 laps for some reason. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
had it in my head. But yeah, you're right. It is 250.
and then I did for the Xfinity side. I sponsored the Road America race, obviously because I live an hour away from the track, and it's the longest laps ever, 121.
Yeah.
It's because those laps are 2.5, 2 minute 50 second, or I forget what Xfinity runs there, but. I kind of want to shift to the Xfinity side of
I was
things.
just about to say that. Look at that. We are on the gear. Let's shift gears. Let's go. Let's go to
Oh,
Xfinity here.
the points for Xfinity as a lie. We just, like I said, we just had an elimination race on Wednesday, last Wednesday. Um, Corey. Sorry, buddy. You didn't make it out of the round of 12.
I got wrecked
Or the
twice.
round of 10. Was
I
it round of
12.
10 or
It was
12?
it was
12.
12. It was 12. Yeah.
You guys have to fill me in because I didn't get the race that I was having computer problems.
I got wrecked
Yeah. Well,
twice
Jared, you are top of the board going into the round of 8 on points.
with the point reset. Yep.
You are with the recess. You are 9 above the cut line in first. I'm in second, 6 above the cut line. We have Wold 2 above the cut line, and Sean Hook 1 above the cut line. And then so
Uh,
we have Zach Saunders 1 under, Tyler 4 under, Jeremy 5 under, and Caleb Sheets 6 under.
so this is a stacked round of 8.
Very close.
Saunders is definitely gonna win
Sonoma.
Sonoma, 100% after his
I was just about
performance
to
in the
say
Truck
that.
Series tonight. There's no way I don't see him winning.
I don't
He
know.
literally
That
lapped the
Jared,
entire field.
that Jared Bundy cat has been working on it, so you
Yeah, but
never
that's
know
the
Yeah.
what's
next
gonna
gen.
happen.
That's the next gen. The Xfinities and the trucks race way
Hey,
different than the next gens
I'm
do.
looking to promote up to B class for my road racing, which just so happens Xfinity's at Sonoma this week for week 13. I don't know. I might be a top 5 contender in a road course for once, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I don't know, Corey, you want to touch on what kind of little overview of Charlotte?
Yeah. I honestly, to be quite honest with you, after I got wrecked on lap 20, I didn't watch any of it. So
Okay,
I
then
can give you the or the front 20 from my perspective, and then you guys can take it over. I was
I
running
can
really
take it over.
well.
Jared wasn't there.
I think I started at. Actually, I can look up where I started. Um,
But yeah, basically,
let's see.
it was, to say the least, it was a really good race. Besides of what happened early-ish on,
It was the
we had
biggest netcode of all time. But
yeah.
to be fair, I don't think that Caleb should have been racing me that hard, and he admitted that he shouldn't have been. So I let it go. It happens.
Oh,
For those
nice.
of you who didn't
I didn't
see
know
it,
this.
for those of you who didn't see it or didn't hear about it, we were racing hard. There was 2 laps left in the stage. The first stage, which was at lap 23. So this is around lap 2021. I'm racing hard for 7th place, which is the cut line for stage points in this league. So the top 7 get stage points. And Caleb Wheeler is right in front of me, and he's slightly off the pace. I'm not going to say very off the pace, but he was braking a little bit more than others were going into the corners. So I got right up to his bumper on turn 1. He broke more than I thought he was going to, and then I gave him a little shove. He got loose. He collected it. I got sent up the track a little bit. Now, Caleb wasn't in the playoffs, right? I was in the playoffs. He comes back up the track and runs me up to the wall, which our cars didn't actually touch, but his car got netcode and it shot his car straight to the right into me, which basically hooked my car down the back straightaway into the backstretch wall head on. Killed the car. I didn't have any brakes. Come back up the track. I clipped Zach and Cody Leach, one of my teammates. Well, both of my
Really,
teammates next
technically,
season, to be
too.
honest.
In
And
Xfinity, you can count me as your teammate.
yeah, it was bad. It was most unfortunate for everybody that got collected because I couldn't stop. But my car got killed. Caleb's car got killed. Zach was off the pace significantly for the rest of the
Yeah.
race.
Well,
Cody
yes.
was basically killed too. I think.
He parked it and left.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah, Cody did park it and leave too. Yeah, his car was killed. Your car was killed, pretty much. I mean, everybody that hit me got killed.
I
You were
was
in 6th
I was
now.
trucking along. After that incident at lap, what was it, 20?
It was 21, 22 or something. Yeah,
So right to end the stage.
22. Yeah, because look at me and Cody are
Yes.
both 20 or 78 laps down at the end of the race. So
Yeah, so it was a 100 lap race. Stages were 23 and 45. So that was racing for a stage. Everyone's going to race hard, playoffs or not. You still want to be high up in points at the end of the season. Something to bragging rights and momentum for next season. But outside of stage 1, that ending, I think we only had one caution or two. One, I believe.
you
I
had
think it
one
was only
stage
one.
caution and then one caution in the last stage.
No,
I think.
Oh yes, we had a caution in stage 3,
and then you had the second stage because there's 3 cautions for 12 laps I'm seeing here. It
Yeah.
looked like an
Well,
extremely clean race. The top, now this is a stat for you. The top 6 drivers ran with 0 X's, 0 incident points the entire race.
Yeah. So
All
we
top
had
6.
we had a green flag pit stop in the third stage. The third stage was a 55 lap run. We had about, I think it was 36 laps of fuel, 32 to 36, somewhere in there. Yeah, I was significantly off the pace after the incident on lap 20, 21, 22. But yeah, I mean, I finished 15th. I was able, I think I was 18 plus at the end of the race on off the cut line, so I was fine.
Yeah,
Jared,
you just had to
that
survive.
Jared missed the race, and he was ended
Well
up
above, yeah.
having a good enough cushion because me and Jared. I don't say I'm not gonna say we dominated the season, but up to that Charlotte race, I finished top 10 in every single race I ran and that's in the seasons up to that point,
oh,
and
and you have a. Oh, you didn't?
I have a
Did you
win.
end up winning? Yeah, Vegas,
Yeah,
Vegas.
It was
I won at
Vegas,
Vegas
yeah.
too, which locked me in.
I kind of screwed myself out of that because I don't because we maxed out the green white checkers and I only had enough fuel for I think it was one or
Yeah,
two and
I
we
had
just
to fight off everybody for 5 green white
Which is
checkers.
absolutely nuts for the fact that we had 5 green white checkers. Like that's insane. That
I
just
one of
happened.
them was because you finally money shifted after you saying you weren't going to. Yeah, I think it was the third one. I was like, Corey, don't money shift on the first
Yeah.
one.
That
You
was like
did. The
thank
right
God
second
you were
one,
that
on
was
the
like right
inside line.
around that was right around when I first got my shifter, so
yeah,
Thank God you're on the
I'm
inside line
still
or you would have
working on
killed
it.
people.
yeah. I chose the inside.
No, but this to be fair, going into this next race at Pocono, it's going to be this next 2 weeks are going to be very interesting. A lot of people equate Pocono kind of like a road course because all 3 turns are different, and then we have Sonoma right after, which is a real road course. So it's going to be really tough on you guys as drivers now. I think I'm actually going to be stepping into the race control full time now, starting for Xfinity. Now that I'm out of the playoffs, I'm going to start getting an early start on that. Um,
Okay.
so I'm gonna have a really interesting perspective to bring next week to the podcast to maybe give some thoughts on rulings and such. But it's gonna be a
Yeah,
short race. We only have 45 laps, I think. Is
I'm
it?
not
I
sure.
think
I
it's
have the
45
schedule.
laps. Um,
Schedule here somewhere. But
it's
yeah, I mean,
yeah, it is 45.
a,
Yeah, it's gonna be a short one.
little, a little Pocono preview here. Then, I don't know about Jared, but I'm pretty confident. Me and Jared both ran really well in the trucks there a couple weeks prior. Yes, me and Jared had a little net code incident under caution.
Yeah, net code, we'll call it that.
It was. I went back and I looked at it. I was about a foot away from your truck,
Well, I
and
think
it.
what happened because I gassed it up and I think the
Yeah,
back end kind of moved a little bit and
it
allowed for that to
sucked you
happen.
into me, and then we went into the wall under caution. I was messing around. I was running next to him. I was trying to get as close as I can without touching him, and I guess it net coded me into him. But for Pocono, I feel pretty confident. I'm definitely gonna run some laps tomorrow before the race. Make sure I got all my markers down before the practice session opens up because we get about 55 minutes to practice, and I feel like I'm just missing maybe 15 minutes of time that I could really use to close the gap in between the top 5 guys because I'm usually sitting around there in like 7th, 8th all race for Xfinity, and I save my car pretty well. I don't in Xfinity. I don't really get it in a lot of wrecks. The cup side of things is completely different. God, I can't tell you how many times I've been wrecked out of races and stuff like that.
Somehow you've had worse luck with that than I have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even want to talk about getting wrecked out. I mean, the last 2 weeks I got wrecked out in both
I
Xfinity
mean
races. Like it
because
was
I've. Well,
most
I'm talking
unfortunate
cup
playoffs
side
ever.
now. I'm talking cup side now. 5 weeks before the cup race, I was well above the line to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I remember
that's
Nash. I got wrecked out Nashville, Homestead. That was a whole another incident.
I did a
But
little maths while I was sitting at work today.
okay,
Um, so I only ran partial season this season in Cup. I started at Kansas, so I missed the first 9 races or 7 races
we
of the
did the
season.
Did you do Daytona though?
No, I didn't.
No.
I
Oh, that's because
broadcasted the
Josh.
first 7
That's because
races.
Josh was. I don't. Whatever happened with Josh?
Never heard from him ever again.
He's still in the Discord. I
Yeah, I
see him
know.
right now. He's on.
So anyways, I did math, right? If I had ran every single race um before the playoffs, I would have been sitting in the 6th position. Like if I scored on average the same amount of points that I was scoring throughout the course of the
Okay.
season that I scored, I would have been sitting in the 6th position, just behind Nick by 1 point going into the playoffs. So
Yeah,
I'm
because Nick
feeling
has that 75
really
point penalty.
confident for next season because I felt really off the pace, to
Yeah,
be quite
and
honest with you, sometimes.
if some of you don't know, next season, this is our driver lineup, excluding Connor Wold. Connor Wold is our fourth driver, probably our first driver, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's probably going to be our championship guy.
Um, but yeah, this is pretty much your top tier lineup. We have a sister team as well, named to be announced.
TBA.
We're stuck between two of them, two names. We just gotta pick which one.
Yeah, they just got to figure it out.
I think we should throw a poll up in the top tier Discord and let them fight for themselves.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like Cody's name though,
yeah. It,
which was
it,
my name at
ne-
first.
and to be fair, next season is going to be different, right? We're going to have way more cars on the track consistently with the charter system going into place. Um, we're going to have more people committed as well
Yeah.
to running open cars, which could be kind of cool. We'll have some Xfinity guys jumping up for one offs or two offs. We'll have real owner standings where if somebody's not going to show up for a race, you can actually put somebody else in your car to earn points, which is really cool.
hmm
Um, so there's a lot of cool things coming next
We
season. We could probably talk about charter bidding maybe when it comes closer to it, and we can kind of talk about who's lined up to get some teams or get some charters. I've got some insider information since I do run that side of everything, but we get closer to that point here in a couple of weeks, which honestly, charter bidding is the 25th at 7 p.m.
Riz,
It's right before the championship race, so we'll have a
did
lot to
you?
cover that week.
What's our plans for numbers?
I was so the initial idea
I
was to
initially was
do
calling in Trackhouse.
yeah, so we changed that to RCR and Trackhouse now, is what I
It is
changed.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I would love
So
to drive the 8 car. I
yeah,
know
that
Kenny's gonna take.
was
I know Evan is gonna get Kenny the 3,
yeah. So we might have to kind of move around a little bit. And if
but
anything, if worse comes to
that means that
worse, if we can't get
the 29 and the
29, yeah.
31 are RCR numbers as well.
Yeah, we could grab those as well.
Um, but
Yeah,
I mean, I would love to drive the 8 car.
yeah. I mean, I definitely want to get the one again, and I don't think there's anybody in here that drives the
Sure.
one. So
What number would you want? Since we're gonna be Chevy next year.
I'll rock the 29. Old school Kevin Harvick when he was good.
Okay.
I'd put
Okay.
Wold in the 99 then.
No, you gotta get Wool to 88.
The 88, good old Dale Jr.
Yeah, if Dominguez doesn't end up with it.
Yeah, Dominguez is going to have bidding ahead of us. He's going to grab it.
Yeah. Oh, he's on Nick's team. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if he was on his own team, he would still have it ahead of us. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll kind of play it by ear. I'll make a little list of numbers and we can
Yeah. I'm fine with the 99 as well
just
too.
have as
If it
have
comes
as
out on
many
that.
like we'll just order them in whatever order I can get them in. I'll get them.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be one of
Um.
the last teams for bidding since we're still low in the standings this year, but the win helped. So
But yeah, the one by Mitchell help
yep.
and your win.
hmm
Top tier has 2 wins this season.
They do.
It's more than DU.
It is.
Yeah.
We've yet to win this season, but we're like third in points. So
I
I
have a
mean,
feeling okay, my early championship prediction is if Nick doesn't absolutely blow up, I think Nick might come out and dominate at Charlotte.
Well,
no.
I mean,
I love Nick, but Xander's gonna win that thing. Me and
Xander
Xander were
has
running.
put
Me and
down
Xander were
a
running the A
stupid amount of
fixed.
laps.
Me and Xander ran A fixed all week long. Like we turned well over 1,000 laps that week just doing A fixes. I swear. And practice before that,
So
we did 10+ races, and it's 50 laps a race, and we probably did close to 50 laps of practice each time.
Nick won by 2 seconds, and he led 125 out of the 135 laps at Charlotte last season.
I do remember that. I was at driving that race.
He dominated the race, to be fair.
He
I
did.
So
think
He did.
Xander's biggest competition will be him.
Xander
Yes. Yes.
Xander didn't do bad, but he didn't lead a single lap that race. And he had 22 incidents, which means he was getting into shit with everyone.
Yeah.
So,
But
I don't know.
the
I
thing
think
too about that is they've kind of got this little mini rivalry going. Like it's not like Denny Ross, like they're wrecking each other. I mean, sometimes they are, but it's more of like they race each other really hard, and
shit
sometimes
happens.
just stuff happens. So they really got to be careful with that and not go over their heads, and because they can very easily take each other out.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was just about to say. My prediction: Nick and Xander get into it, collect Evan, Dominguez takes the championship.
Then he wouldn't be the undisputed.
No, Evan would not be the undisputed champion of the show anymore. The undefeated team champion, driver champion,
Regular
Winston
season
champion,
champion.
regular season champion. He's uh he's got it all going for him right now, Evan. So
Do we have a count of stage wins for everybody?
I do. I think Xander has the most with 6.
'Cause that is something I wanted to look at
Yeah, it's
for
on the
a minute
playoff
now.
sheet. Let me grab it real quick. I wasn't prepared for that. Uh, so
The drive. I can find it. Is it just playoffs?
yeah, it's called playoffs. So I think Xander had the most with 6.
Stage
Seven,
wins. Xander has
seven,
7.
seven
Yes.
stage wins for Xander.
Next person is Evan with 4.
Yeah. So Dominguez only has 2. Everybody
Jared
else
Jared
pretty
had
much has
Jared
2.
had 2 stage wins.
That was at
Both at the
Daytona, though.
first race of the
Oh,
season.
that's
He won
right.
the first 2
Yeah,
stages of the season and hasn't
I
done
was
anything
killing it
since.
at Daytona, dude. I've been struggling. I've just
Yeah,
been lugging along.
I didn't have any stage wins. No regular season bonus points. No playoff points.
It's
I
gonna be a
missed it.
battle. It's gonna be a battle between Kenny, Zach, Nick, and Alex, pretty much, to get those last 2 spots. I think. No offense,
It's
Jared. Unless you come out with a
with the
win.
really bad race at Atlanta, I'm in like a must win unless they all just wreck out the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Sonoma could be a wild card, or not Sonoma. Sorry, what the heck? Phoenix could be a wild card because it's another one of those shorty-ish tracks that
It's a little
races.
tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky. We've got 2
That's
tricky
right.
tracks
I
coming up.
forgot about Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix has kind of gone under
That
the
might
radar,
not be
but
there
I ran well in Xfinity when we had it.
because I think that's IndyCar at Road America that weekend. I might not be there, but I do love Phoenix. I go to Phoenix every year.
yeah,
Amazing place to watch a race. Yes, it can get boring. I go there for the championship race, so it's entertaining.
yeah.
I love going for the Xfinity races, dude. Those things are, in my opinion, those things are more eventful than the Cup. The Xfinity Championship is better than the Cup Championship in some ways. But that's just my take of watching it live.
I I don't mind Phoenix as a track. I think NASCAR just needs to fix the frickin' car or go back to more horsepower or something.
Yeah, I do
Like
think they need to go back to what they were doing a couple years ago with the different horsepower packages for
they
different tracks.
they need to figure out
Like
something.
short tracks should have a little more horsepower than I would say the intermediates.
I
Just
mean,
by
why
not
the
much.
heck do we have a diffuser on our stock car?
They let GT3 people build the
I
car.
know, and then we don't need it. Get it out. Get rid of
If
it.
for
Bring
some of
back
you
the
who
flat
don't know,
bottoms.
some of you who don't know, Corey is the biggest Gen 4 advocate I know. He
Not
keeps trying
just
to
a Gen
send
4
it.
advocate. I'm a
The connoisseur.
I'm a next gen hater, dude. I'm a
He has been
certified next
trying.
gen hater.
He's been trying to turn this league into a Gen 4 league for months now. He's done it like 4 times and then reverted it and then done it again.
There's a
It's
lot
a whole thing.
there's a lot of issues with the Gen 7, not just in real life, but also on this game, mostly relating to passing. it's very hard to pass unless somebody makes a mistake or burns their tires off. You can be faster than somebody and then get to their back bumper and just sit there for the rest of the race because it's impossible to get out of the wake in the corners. And if you aren't on
That
the
makes it
preferred
easy to
racing
cut.
line, which almost every track now only has a single preferred racing line because of the way that the downforce works in the next gen car, you cannot get enough speed generated to get around them unless they get loose or get tight or make a
What is
mistake. So
what is the front part of the car called?
the splitter,
No, like the in general, what is it called? The front what?
The nose.
the nose of the car.
No, the front bumper. You gotta
Yeah.
use it, man.
Oh,
You gotta ride me
See, no,
Robertson, all right?
here's
see,
the thing.
You
and that's
gotta
another thing is
you
I'm one of the
have to
cleanest
ride me.
drivers in
Yeah.
this league.
I think the three of us in here are
So
the three cleanest
I
drivers.
don't
But
I don't move anyone unless
when it
absolutely
comes
necessary.
yeah, when it comes time when you gotta go,
Well,
you gotta
here's
use
the
it.
thing that I don't understand. So
And I
NASCAR is this big, like they got this big push to keep costs down for the teams and the engine department, and working on the body. But they make a car where the only way to pass without relying on these niche things
it's
is to just
cheap.
run the guy over.
Or cheat.
Or, well, I guess there's that.
As what
I
Hendrick
mean,
has
why
been
do you
doing all
think Ross
season.
was doing so well for the first
It's just
basically
it's
all
so
the way up
weird to
until
me.
Justin Marks yelled at him? Is because he'd literally give people the bumper and move him out of the way, and he was just fast. But now, he's not doing that. He's finished outside the top 20 in the last two
What
races.
they need to do is if they because their NASCAR I believe is kind of capped on how much horsepower they can throw in, and the rev limit is due to the manufacturers of the engines.
Yeah, at least for this season. There's talks about it for next season, but it's not just
Uh,
the horsepower. It's a multitude of issues. It's
well,
mainly the wake that the cars punch in the air, like in the wake that comes out behind them. Like the amount of air that's being displaced is much larger than in the past, which means that these cars are basically always in dirty air in the corners. If they're too wide through the corners, they're always in dirty air. And like I said, the downforce of the car basically makes every single track a one-lane track. So it's just
Yeah.
impossible to pass.
I this is
what I
oh, sorry.
think that should an idea if the talks with the manufacturers doesn't go away. They've already tried taking away the rear downforce with the lowering of the spoiler,
Mhm.
at the short tracks and road courses. What it's, what that kind of kills the intermediates at that point. Even though the intermediates are they've been good,
Um
but it's like you get into the corner and you try to pass low on a track like Texas, and the guy can just pinch you because you can't get on the throttle because your rear is, you got to have that setup absolutely nailed.
this is going back to more of the short track issue. I know I heard I think it was Kyle Busch said it is let's rip the underbodies off the car and run it at Martinsville for 70 laps in a test session and see what happens.
Yeah, that's like
Because
getting
a
rid of the
lot,
diffuser and everything. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of this, I think a lot of the problems, yes, it's a downforce issue more than a horsepower issue, in my opinion. I think taking some of that stuff out and changing the dynamic of how the air flows with the car as well, kind of do what Formula One did, like last season with F1. Dirty air is pretty much non-existent. But now, obviously, Formula One's different. There's a lot of ingenuity in it. Now it's kind of back this season because teams are starting to figure things out. But I don't know. It's something that NASCAR needs to look into and
It's
definitely.
definitely not a one thing fixes all.
No, it's not. It's
Absolutely not. Yeah.
you. It has the car has to be in harmony in order for it to be able to be somewhat drivable,
I
which
do
is
think this next
shocking
gen
how it
car
is
does
now.
have some bright spots.
It has
Well,
potential for
yeah,
sure. The cost saving metrics are definitely there, and teams are starting to get more money than they did back when they had to spend
like the gap is
thousands to
closed.
millions of
The gap
dollars.
the gap is closed in between teams.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest thing. Like that is
There is another thing I wanted to touch on too. It's the
What?
whole uh making every car basically the same, which I've noticed because I had just gotten back into NASCAR last season. I didn't really watch a whole lot of the late Gen
Mm-hmm.
6, but
I didn't
I
watch
don't I don't know
NASCAR
I don't
for
know how
like
long this has been going
15
on, but
years,
I
dude.
noticed last season and especially this season, there's almost no differences between the cars besides some
How the
things you can tweak
noses,
with the
yeah,
setup.
or yeah,
But
I thought you were
it's
talking
like
about body.
when you have every car basically the same, but that car also you like the way it's made, it's so hard to pass. You kind of just end up with, well, qualifying is really the only thing that matters. It does and it doesn't, because there's things that happen throughout the race that can gain or lose you positions. But
Well, we can tie this directly into our league. I mean, just um, look at Xander. Xander qualifies high almost every race, and he finishes up there almost every race because he has that track position. Like it just shows how big of a deal qualifying is. And now, granted, spec car racing will always produce better like racing overall, right? Like it's just how it's gonna work. If everybody has the same equipment, everybody's getting all their parts from the same manufacturers, and they're building basically the same car, then you're gonna have better racing no matter what. And there's a lot of talk about F1 going to a system like that.
But I
People
feel
want to
like
see what it would be like.
we're overlooking what it already looks like right now.
Oh no,
IndyCar.
it look yeah, I mean yeah,
It's
IndyCar
IndyCar.
is great. It's probably my favorite series to watch on TV right now.
IndyCar is spec racing.
Yeah.
The only thing that's different is the engines, and they're not that different. They're
And this
just
is this
Chevy
is
and
gonna sound
Honda.
crazy too, but I was watching the GR86 Toyota Cup, like the real life one, and like I was watching them race at Sonoma, and the amount, like the level of racing that they put on is phenomenal,
Yeah.
phenomenal because it's
Have
all
you ever
spec cars.
have you ever watched the Mazda's race in person,
I haven't seen
or
one
the
in
Porsche
person.
Cup,
No, I
or
have
the
not.
Porsche Cup? Oh my God! At Road America for IndyCar weekend, they have Mazdas and Porsche Cup. Those guys wreck more than they do on iRacing. I swear to God, especially the Porsche Cup. Every lap it's caution. Every lap it's almost a red flag. Like at
Yeah.
Road America, if some of you don't know, Road America has four heavy braking zones that are downhill, so they're harder to stop. Obviously, because you're rolling downhill and stuff like that. And especially turn 5 and turn 8 and turn 3, they just run into each other and off in the kitty litter. But like all those spec racing, but besides the wrecking, God, it is awesome to watch.
Oh my
It's
gosh, did you watch
in
the
some ways better than the main event stuff.
Did you watch any of the stuff from the Detroit street race this weekend? Not the IndyCar race, but like the other IMSA stuff that was there?
No, I didn't get a chance. I saw clips on
There
Instagram.
was a GT4 car that went airborne, dude.
Oh, I went over another car. Was it a
Yes.
BMW? Yeah, it was like a
Yes, it was
BMW went over a
a
car. Yeah, I
Beamer. A
saw that on
Beamer went
Instagram.
over, I think it was a Maserati or a Porsche, and it got airborne, and that was the like craziest thing I've ever seen. Those cars are heavy, dude.
They
Those
are.
GT4 cars are heavy, and it went up and over, and like he got on the tire barrier and then just drove away with his car just demolished.
Mm-hmm.
It was nuts. Um, yeah, let's shift gears here one more time. Let's talk about a little bit of drama uh,
Soon.
that's been building up in the Cup Series, and our Cup Series. Let's talk Tyler Kroshek, temporarily removed from his charter for next season, and
Yeah.
that team is currently
Um,
evaluating other options. I mean,
I
that's
have
a
a
big tidbit of drama going on.
yeah, I have a different viewpoint on this than most people. I reached out to Tyler. I offered to be. I said the CU core earlier, but I offered to be the Denny Hamlin of this league, in saying like a 23-11 team, like a driver owner, but I drive for a different team. I offered Tyler. I said I would be willing to make a team for you and maybe another driver down the road. That way, because although he has a lot of his moments where he's too aggressive, doesn't have control, and all this other stuff you can go on and list, but he's still a really good driver if you put that aside. I mean, he's got a lot of potential and a lot of upside. He's just, I don't feel like he has anybody there helping him. As much as I like Xander, as much as I love Xander and I talk to him all the time and race with him, he doesn't really help with the aggression toning. More like I would, or Jared, or trying to list off a couple other people, Corey and whatnot. Um, he just he just lacks the more guidance of trying to figure out when is the right time to be aggressive, when is the right time to sit here and be like, hey, I'm gonna just lay off, cool down a couple laps, get refocused, get back in a rhythm, and then get back at it.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jared have had our fair share of run-ins with Tyler. He wrecked me twice at
Yeah,
Darlington, so
my opinion might be a little biased.
I
I
mean, we've
don't
had our run-ins,
mind
but
Tyler racing how he races. Let's put it that way. I do have a problem with him becoming the Ross Chastain of this league, and this is coming from a Ross Chastain super fan. How he continues making the same mistakes and then apologizing and then continues making the same mistakes. Him and Caleb Wheeler have the same Ross Chastain attitude where they say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been doing this, but then they continue to do it, right? That's my biggest thing with Tyler. And I don't mind him racing in the Cup Series. I don't mind him racing in the Xfinity Series. Me and him have had a run-in in the old ARCA League at Phoenix where he almost killed me, you know? So I like the aggression. Love the aggression, right? Don't like.
the recklessness.
No, it's not that. I just don't like how, if you're gonna be reckless and you're gonna be moving people and you're gonna be racing
It,
aggressive and you're gonna cause incidents, just own it, dude. Just own it.
yeah,
Just own it. Like, be like, yeah, I did it. Whatever. Like, say, I told Caleb the same thing on Wednesday. I was like, just own it, man. Like, if you're gonna wreck people and like it's because you're aggressive and it's just how you're driving, then just admit to it. Like I'm a Ross
and
Chastain fan, but I drive nothing like him. So like, but like I can totally see how people now like were annoyed with him in the Cup Series because it was the same thing. It was like he would wreck people and he'd be like, yeah, I gotta be better, I gotta be better. But then next week come out and do it again. And that's how it is with Tyler, and that's my viewpoint on it. I think he should be racing in the Cup Series. I think he just needs to mature a little bit when it comes to like reacting to his aggressive driving and the incidents that he causes.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess I'll chime in with my viewpoint since we're all sharing here. Uh, well, I guess I'm a little bit more harsh in my thinking of it, and I think he should probably have like half a season in Xfinity after this season to kind of reestablish and kind of retrain himself to not push himself in his car over the limit and not drive over his head sometimes. I mean,
He is on
yeah.
a provisional Cup
there's
Series license, so I mean, if he continues to cause issues, he will lose it, which is the main reason that
which,
right.
Anthony actually like
which is kind of
shopped him
what
out.
I talked to him about. I said it's trial week basis type of thing. If you're gonna drive for me, you gotta. I don't really care about good results, but you gotta be clean week in and week out. Yes, mistakes happen. Yes, we're all human. We all wreck people sometimes.
I mean, to
Some
be
more than
quite
others.
honest with you, I think he's in a position where if he would just race a little bit cleaner, he probably would see a lot more top tens, top fives.
Exactly.
If
He would
he
be in the
slowed down
he
his
would be
pace a
in the
little bit and
playoffs.
he really thought about where he's driving and the moves that he's making and how much he's using his tires, he could be really good. Like he's just a few steps away, and
Yeah.
there's a
and
lot.
I've told him that too, and like I've told other people like, dude, he could be like fighting for the top, but it's just the thing like the situational awareness too is a thing that I like. It's almost like he's too in the moment, like too
Yeah.
into the lap
He's
that he's
thinking.
running and not
Yeah.
thinking 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 laps ahead, you know?
Yeah, it's
Which
all
is going to
about
be.
taking care of your stuff, especially now with no fast repairs. It's really going to be about just taking care of your stuff out there, staying out of the
Yeah.
crap.
And with next season, the races are much longer.
Yep.
The
10
fuel
to
we're gonna.
15% longer. We're going to have longer fuel runs. Yep.
Yep, we're gonna have longer fuel ones, so it's even more important to think about the long term instead of the short term in stage 2 or beginning of stage 3, where nothing matters right now if like the checker flag doesn't come out for another 70 laps. That's a long time. That's like a more than a full fixed race.
Yeah.
at
And
most
I
rounds.
know he can race clean because I remember the Darlington Xfinity race. I had actually turned him at one point, believe it or not.
You guys
Look,
always seem to turn each other.
I drove in over my head, yeah, and I did it in Nashville too, or not Nashville. It was New Hampshire. I
yeah.
drove in over my head a little bit,
Oh yeah,
So
but
yeah,
you wrecked me. Okay. Because I ran into Tyler.
oh yeah. We'll put that on me. But like at Darlington in the Xfinity, he was clean, and we were actually at one point like bumper to bumper for like 40 laps, and we're fine. But then you fast forward to like Atlanta, I noticed he was the only car a lap down. This was late stage 3. He's the only car a lap down,
yep.
and he's like making moves, trying to get like in the lead pack and trying to push his way forward in the lead pack, and ends up in an incident
I'll be
that
the
he may or may not
Which
have
I'll be the
caused.
which
first person
collected
to
me.
admit that every time that he appeared anywhere near me and my teammates, we immediately tried to shuffle him out. Him and
It,
Caleb, we were
it's
trying to
it,
shuffle out the whole race, just trying
it's
to
like
get them.
because I
And
was sitting there thinking at the time, like, why is he why is he running like that?
yeah,
He's the only car a lap down, just hanging out in the back, you
and
know.
that I have a really good um I don't know what the correct word is, but I mean I was next to him for most of those laps where he was the only car lap down. The incident that happened was he went into turn 3. Kenny was on his outside. I was behind Kenny on the top. Kenny has been sitting behind me almost all race, clean, whatever. Kenny only hit my bumper, I think, once when we were avoiding the Nick and Connor Wold incident. And Tyler just got tight, washed up the track, ran into Kenny, collected me. Fortunately, it didn't end my race. I was able. I only had like 3 minutes of optional or whatever. But I mean, you could go. I think it was a lap or two prior. Tyler did the same thing, but I was on his outside, and I was probably 2 inches from the wall
Well, he
until
also
I
turned
backed
me
out.
going into pit lane.
That is
That
true.
was
That
hilarious. That
we
was
had that
really
We
funny.
we had
he
that
he
15 car
passed
pile up in pit
he
road.
passed he pa- no it was only him. It was only him. Everybody else got in clean and he cooked it trying to pass like two or three cars on the inside. We were
Mhm.
three wide going to pit road. I was right behind Nick. Next thing I know, I'm sliding through the grass sideways out towards the track because he overcooked it, missed the commitment cone, which little sneak peek next season there's gonna be a commitment line rule in place
I'm
when it
so
comes to
excited for
pitting.
the juice cone.
There's a lot
I'm
of cool stuff
so
coming.
excited
We'll,
for
we'll
that. We'll
preview a
talk
lot
about
of the
that.
rule changes in a later podcast too. But anyways, he missed the commitment cone, so he was already going to get a black flag for entering the pits illegally because he swung on the outside, came through the grass, and ended up trying to brake and it shot his car right into me. He didn't do it on purpose, right? He just made a mistake, and I mean it happens. But he also
Yeah,
shouldn't have been trying to pass people on pit entry, especially when there was about 15 cars pitting at once. So it's just those situational awareness things that we were talking about, and he's
yeah,
got a lot to learn. And I almost think, he would probably benefit from running a season in Xfinity at this point. Just he'd be one of the better cars down there. Probably be good for his mental. Um, but and that's not up to me, and that's why we're an odors based league. If somebody wants them to race Cup, somebody will race them in Cup. It's just how
yeah.
it's how it goes.
Yeah, but it is how the league is now, which I really do enjoy because we as Corey, we as admins don't get to dictate. Well, we get some choice say in who can raise cup, but we don't say who's for sure going to be in cup
I
You
mean,
because
don't gatekeep it.
pretty much now,
we
once
yeah
you get a cup license, the only way you're gonna lose it is through the IC system or
yeah
which,
behavioral issues.
yeah. So that's the thing is like I'm not going to demote Tyler unless there's like the incident counter is showing that it needs to happen. He's already got a
Yeah,
drive-through penalty next race because he didn't serve it at Atlanta because he left before he could serve it.
which is going to be really bad.
Yeah, it's gonna throw him right in the
It's
middle of
Bristol.
yeah, it's gonna
It's
throw him right in the middle of
Bristol.
the pack. So I don't know. We'll
But I think we'll have a
see.
caution lap one anyways. So
I don't know. People have been racing quite cordially in the
nope,
Cup
we
Series.
are gonna have a caution lap one. I what? I will put money on that. We will have a caution
I
on lap
uh,
one.
I thought that Tyler was gonna wreck the field by lap 40, and it didn't happen until lap like 80. So I was off
I did
based on
say
that.
15,
So
but
to be fair,
I am 2 for 2 on actual putting money on bets in this league. I'm 2 for 2. Just saying.
you called Bob Baker and Jim Mott top 10, so we'll see how that goes. Or top 12, sorry.
Top 12 and top 15. Okay.
Okay, okay.
And I did call the Martinsville Xfinity race. I
Yeah, that
said
was
that
bad.
we were gonna have less than 2 green white checkers, and we didn't even get a green white checkered.
Loudon
So
Soccer
Connor
ran one
Wold,
race, led every
sh-
single lap at Martinsville, and never showed up to another race
shout
again.
out Connor Wold, lost $10 to me. He sent me the
Did he
10
pay up?
bucks.
He paid up?
He sent the $10 5 minutes after the race.
Wow, what a G.
I spent that on what did I? Oh, I spent that on Discord Nitro.
There you go. Well, I think that's gonna go ahead and be a good place to wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah,
We covered a lot of topics here in the first moving chicane podcast. So make sure if you guys are interested in joining the league, the showracing.com has all the information you could ever need, has all the stats, the getting started page, everything. Ryan will get you set up when you get in the Discord here. We've got a great community here for all of you outside listeners. So make sure you come stop by and hang out with us. And for all of you in the league, thank you for your continued commitment to the league and making it the best thing that it could possibly be. And we'll see you guys next week. We're going to be
and
planning on doing these on Mondays. So
yep. And Jared, thank you for coming on as our first guest.
Jared Bundy, first guest, thank you for joining us,
Appreciate
playoffs
it.
driver in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. Make sure to cheer him on this week.
I definitely didn't have to beg for that, but yeah, it's nice being on here.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you guys.